Now, as you well know, COVID-19 has thrown our world into turmoil, not only how we live, but also how we work. And hypnotherapists have also had to adapt. I wonder, is this the way of the future? For months, we were trapped in our houses, barely daring to stick our noses out the front door, as lockdown restrictions forced us to rethink how we live and how we work. I, for one, desperately hoped that this would be a temporary situation and that normal life would return at some point. Now, almost a year later, it's becoming quite clear that we will, in all probability, never go back to exactly how things were in the past. We are going to have to adapt in so many ways. In fact, we've already adapted our lives because of this virus. We are washing our hands way more often than usual, and we have stopped kissing all and sundry. Education has moved online to a much larger degree than before, and we're opting to stay at home to avoid crowded spaces. Many people are postponing elective medical treatment, and shopping has become an online affair too. And when you see a person not wearing a mask, you tend to panic and avoid them like the plague. Literally. Many people have found that working from home is the best option and have started working online from their bedrooms, attending Zoom meetings without pants and with cats and children zooming in and out of these virtual sessions. And more people are opting for teleconsultations and virtual consultations with healthcare providers. A friend of mine is a psychologist who had fancy offices in a fancy part of town. He has since moved his practice online and works from home, literally saving a few million rand in rental every year. Hypnotherapists have also moved online, and I was recently privy to a WhatsApp conversation on a hypnotherapy group where it was reported that Zoom-no-therapy, to coin a phrase, works extremely well. It has also meant that therapists can now consult with clients worldwide and are therefore no longer constricted to seeing clients from their hometowns only. Of course, all this is fine and well if you are well-resourced and can afford a laptop, internet connection, and the fees attached to these services. But as we know, the digital divide is a real phenomenon, especially in South Africa, with its huge income discrepancies. It's estimated that only 7.9% of South Africans have a computer. Only about 10.4% of South African households have access to the internet at home, and some 64.7% of South African households have at least one member who has access to or use the internet either at home, work, a place of study, or at internet cafes. It seems most people use their mobile devices to access the internet. According to Moonstone Information Refinery, this includes access to cellular telephones or using mobile access devices such as 3G cards. Mobile access to the internet has made it much more accessible to households in rural areas. Nationally, internet access using mobile devices is at 60% and is much more common than access at home, which is just over 10%. Or at work at 16%, or elsewhere also at 10%. Although the use of mobile internet access devices in rural areas, which stands at about 45%, still lags behind its use in metros, which is almost at 70%, the urban areas at 63%, it is much more common in rural areas than any of the alternative methods. Interestingly, but not surprisingly, the coronavirus has led to an increase in internet traffic in South Africa. Seacom, which operates one of South Africa's major undersea fibre cables, said it has seen a 15% increase in internet traffic across its network since the lockdown started in March of 2020. And it expects that figure to increase even further. Now, we all know how prohibitively expensive data is in our country. This is, of course, another negative factor which constrains how people use the internet, especially on their cell phones. All these factors challenge the ways in which we as hypnotherapists can connect to our clients. While well-resourced and well-connected households may have easy access to online hypnotherapy services, there are a great many people who do not have such easy access and who are still in need of our services. As hypnotherapists, we are obliged to consider which ways would most fit our client. I believe that as client-centered hypnotherapists, we should not only adapt our therapy methods to our clients, but also the way in which we deliver that therapy to them. For myself, I stay in an area where there is no fiber and where the trees around my property are in the way of the local internet service provider's tower. Cell phone signal is poor at best of times and not suitable for Zoom sessions. So in order to host such online sessions, I will need to go to a local shopping centre, but the Wimpy is much too noisy to use as an office. So I'm in the process of finding a new therapy office so as to once again see clients in person and hopefully have a more stable internet connection there. But at the same time, I've had to creatively adapt to the new online reality forced upon us by Covid-19. My solution has been to consult telephonically, mainly through a WhatsApp call, and to then make recordings for my clients which are tailored to their specific needs. These are then sent as MP3s, either via email or as a WhatsApp sound file, or I also use WeTransfer. I have found this to work quite well, and the feedback I have received has been very positive. Now, luckily, I'm a trained actor and I have quite a bit of experience as a voiceover artist, so making these recordings come quite naturally to me. And you do not need a fancy studio in which to make these recordings either. I just use an acoustic shield and a USB mic to record, and I edit on my laptop, just as I'm doing these recordings now. So whatever the solution, we as hypnotherapists have had to adapt to the new reality so as to best serve the interests of our clients. And maybe there are some other ways to do this too. Maybe we must still find out. Perhaps hypnosis by courier. Who knows? I'm Hendrik Baird. My practice is Hypnosis Works. You can find me on Facebook, and my Facebook page is called Hypnosis Works South Africa. You can also find me on findahypnotist.co.za, and if you see my listing there under Gauteng, you can click through to my website, which is hendrikbairdservices.wordpress.com, and you will find out all about the services that I do provide. Hypnosis Works. Transforming the mind.